Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Lunch and Learn. I'm Christine Zellers, and I'm going to be I'm going to be presenting to you today, but I'm also behind the scenes doing the background because I'm here alone today. So I ask your patience to bear with me because I'm also going to be admitting people and doing all the polls and that kind of background stuff today. So please let me know if there's any issues. I'll try to check the chat as I present, but no promises that I'll see everything, but I'll try to work on that for you all. So again, welcome. Today's presentation is the 8 Dimensions of Wellness, which is a curriculum that my colleague Jen Shikaitis and I have been working on together. And we are doing this particular series of Lunch and Learns to hopefully get some feedback from you all. And I'm going to tell you how, if you provide your feedback to us, we will give you the opportunity to win one of 15 Fitbits. So I'll tell you about that in just a second. Just to give you a little bit of background information before we get started, Rutgers Cooperative Extension, which is who employs me, is part of a structure in partnership between the County Board of Chosen Freeholders and Rutgers Cooperative Extension, which means I'm located right here in the Cape May County office. Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, and the USDA's National Institute of Food and Nutrition, or Food and Agriculture, have faculty in 20 of the 21 New Jersey counties. And we're composed of 3 departments, which consist of Agriculture and Natural Resources, 4-H and Youth Development, and then, of course, my department, Family and Community Health Sciences. And at FCHS, we provide outreach in New Jersey and beyond on topics related to nutrition, chronic disease prevention, food safety, and overall wellness. And I'm going to give you some contact information for me at the end of the presentation. So I invite you to email me or check out one of the website that we have, our Facebook page. All great information on there, a lot of which is at no cost. So I encourage you to check those out. All right, and of course, Rutgers Rutgers University is an equal opportunity university, and Rutgers Cooperative Extension is part of the Rutgers New Jersey Agricultural Experiment Station, as I already told you. All right, so today specifically, we're going to be talking about emotional wellness. And interestingly enough, I was just saying in the office, usually for these Lunch and Learns, I get about 40 to 60 people register for them. And today we had 115 people register. So I thank you all for being here, but I think it does speak to the fact that, just as we're hearing in all different facets of life, people are having a little bit of a struggle these days with their emotional wellness and health. I am going to release a poll right now. So if you would be so kind to fill out the poll, it's very helpful to me to get an idea of who my audience is and how to best engage you. So I very much appreciate it if you could do the poll as I'm speaking. So as I said, we had a lot of people register for today's class. We had 115 people on the registration list. And I just wanted to go over the criteria for winning one of the Fitbits, if that's why you're joining us today. Trying to gauge how people are interested in this curriculum, the 8 Dimensions of Wellness, and what people are learning from the curriculum. So to do that, I will send out a very short survey after the lesson. And if you complete the survey, there's a spot at the bottom where you can enter your name to win one of the 15 Fitbits we're giving away. And what you have to do is enter I'm going to give you a little word in here that's the word that you want to enter. It's different for each class. If you watch all 10 of the presentations, you can enter 10 times if you take the survey 10 times. So that gives you the opportunity to win more. So again, you can win one of 15. You need to complete the survey. Make sure your email is correct when you register so that we're able to get a hold of you. And then take note of the word code for the survey, which you'll find somewhere buried in the information that I'm giving you. And it's fine if you want to share the word with a friend, but if you share the word with a friend, they might win the Fitbit and you might not. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so today we're going to identify and do a little review of the dimensions of wellness. We're going to define emotional wellness. We're going to recognize the importance of emotional wellness, which I think we all know. And then we're going to explore ways to achieve, maintain, or improve emotional wellness. And we're going to understand how emotional wellness affects and is affected by the other 8 dimensions of wellness in our lives. Okay, so currently the wellness industry is a $4 trillion business, and people really latched onto the idea of wellness. But what does it mean exactly? If you search the term wellness, you might find images of spas or yoga classes, people meditating, maybe even some essential oils. But these things can contribute to our overall wellness, but it seems like there's not one defined idea around it. And so when I started this job and it said that one of our missions for FCHS was to teach wellness and to work on wellness for folks in the communities, I thought, what is wellness? So I started looking into that. And you might think it's hard to understand, but is it really? It turns out that if you are looking at the concepts that are based in research, which is what we do here at Rutgers Cooperative Extension, you can look at the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA. They have a great amount of information that they created a definition for it based off of research again. And that definition is for wellness, and it's a definition that includes a holistic approach, meaning it's not based upon one idea, but rather the function of several concepts that create the balance that is wellness. So it turns out that you can define it, like I said, and that's because, when you hear the term wellness, you kind of get that vague meaning. And, again, you might have tried it because it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. You might have tried some of these things. Today I was adding some new pictures into this presentation because I hadn't done it in a while and updating it a little bit. And when I searched out the images for wellness, like I said, essential oils came up, yoga came up. So, there was a bunch of different things that people take to mean wellness. When I ask this, usually in a class, people will say physical wellness or emotional wellness. But, the way that wellness has come to be defined, according to the model that's been developed by SAMHSA, is that it's a balance of 8 different components. And SAMHSA's definition envisions wellness not as the absence of disease, illness, and stress, but as the presence of a positive purpose in life. And that positive purpose is really important. You'll notice if you've listened to any of the other 8 dimensions of wellness that I've taught, that, the curriculum's kind of reinforcing that positive attributes in your life and what can help you to live a more fulfilled life. So it's positive purpose in life, satisfying work and play, joyful relationships, a healthy body and living environment, and happiness. The 8 dimensions as defined by by SAMHSA are social, emotional, physical, intellectual, financial, occupational, spiritual, and environmental. And I'll just let you know that if you're trying to win one of the Fitbits and you want to take the survey, the word today, the code word is summer, which I'm very happy to have here. So summer is the code word. All right. And again, we're focusing on emotional wellness today. So here I'm putting up on the screen all 8 dimensions and what they mean according to SAMHSA, how they're defined. And you'll notice that emotional went too far, too many clicks. Emotional wellness is at the top. And that doesn't mean that emotional wellness is the most important. Certainly it is an important dimension of wellness, but they're just in alphabetical order, honestly. So there's no one that means more or is more weighted than the other one. So it's important to know that. So, what they're defining emotional wellness as here at the top is coping effectively with life and creating satisfying relationships. So as we go through and talk about this, I'm going to talk about some techniques to help you with your emotional wellness. But if you find, you're quick to snap at people, or you get really frustrated, or things are, you're worrying about things, you're laying awake a lot at night, worrying about the same things over and over again, that could be a sign that your emotional wellness is impacted. And here it says coping effectively. So we want to make sure you utilize some of these skills we're going to talk about today so that you are able to, be emotionally well. Okay, so SAMHSA says the emotional dimension involves the ability to express feelings, adjust to emotional challenges, cope with life stressors, and enjoy life. So again, that positive attribute is that enjoy life. It includes knowing our strengths as well as what we want to get better at, and living and working on our own, but letting others help us from time to time. So that's telling us that we're living independently, yes, and we're doing things on our own. But when we need it, we throw up the flag and say, yep, I need help here. Please help me. So it's knowing when and how to ask for help. And it's also knowing who to go to for help. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the area where we talk about relationships that are healthy. Emotional wellness complements the other 7 areas of wellness to make sure that we're well balanced overall and feeling good. So let's talk about how we can do that a little bit. I'm going to say it. I say it every time I teach this class, but when we're discussing emotional wellness, think about what we're talking about, and think about trying to achieve emotional wellness, but think about all 8 dimensions and how they can fit in together. But take small steps to do it. You want to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself, because that's going to be counterintuitive to doing what you want to be feeling well. So take little steps, break off little bits of this, like as you're listening to the emotional wellness, say, okay, I can do that now, and I'll make a goal to do this next thing next time. So take a little bit of time to think about how you're going to break it apart as we talk. And then also, if you're feeling really healthy in your emotional wellness, think about how the emotional wellness interacts with the other aspects of wellness, the other dimensions, and how they might be affecting that emotional wellness. And think about, if you're doing really well with the emotional dimension, how can you make some of the other ones that maybe you're not feeling so great about feel better? In this particular dimension, I also like to say before we get started that it's often, emotional wellness and mental health is often overlooked. Last month was Mental Health Awareness Month. If you go onto our Facebook page, we have some little pointers there about, mental health awareness. And it's something that's overlooked. Unfortunately, people are uncomfortable talking about it, but it's really critical to have good emotional health. If you are feeling unwell, don't put it off. Seek a doctor's care for your mental and emotional illness. If you have one, just like if you had a broken arm, you'd go to the doctor. So this is the same thing. If you're not feeling well emotionally, mentally, then please seek the help of someone. Putting it off is likely not going to help, but professional care could really be of assistance to you. If you or someone that you love is having thoughts of suicide or severe mental illness, please, I can't say enough, please get help through a doctor or call the suicide prevention line. On the screen here, there's several areas in New Jersey for suicide prevention and help, crisis support. You can call 211 and talk with a resource specialist to get resources. So please utilize these if you are in need and need to get help to feel better. So SAMHSA has 3 areas within the dimension of emotional wellness that I'm going to review in detail today for you. And the benefits they offer to our overall wellness are important. And so we're going to look at these 3 areas. I'll give you some keys on how to achieve wellness, and if you're, and take care of your feelings and your emotions, and ideas for better self-care, and how to better manage your stress and improve emotional wellness. So feelings and emotions are hard for some folks to cope with. Like I said, it's not always an easy thing to talk about, but good ways to achieve better emotional wellness are to allow yourself to open up about your emotions and feelings and recognize them. Ask yourself if you can acknowledge your feelings in a non-judgmental way. Do you allow yourself to be mad or sad? Without saying, no, I can't feel this emotion. Sometimes it's easier to push that way down deep inside, right? But sometimes it's not so healthy to do that. Talk to yourself, say, why am I mad about that? Try to evaluate why you're mad about that, because it might lead to, well, I'm not really mad about that. It's something else. So if you can kind of allow yourself to feel, you may be able to create a better balance within these 8 dimensions. And again, I said be non-judgmental. That's very, very hard to do. We think about we judge ourselves. You know, we're quick to be negative to ourselves. We're quick to judge ourselves. So be kind to yourself. Talk to yourself as you would your child or your grandchild or a friend's child. Be positive and reinforcing to yourself. Be sure to find groups or people whom you can express your feelings and thoughts with, and that's going to provide you with an emotional support system. And I talked in the beginning here about, you know, those relationships, having a safe relationship where you can express yourself and your feelings and not be put in a negative space is really important. Take a look at how you view things. Challenges are they're going to come up. Life's challenging. And so no matter what, you want to plan for the situations and say, okay, this could happen. We can't control everything, but I want to be prepared for that. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can be prepared for that just in your daily life. Let's see here. Another important thing you want to do is know your limitations. It's okay to say no. And that's a really hard thing for me, but know your limitations, set limitations for yourself, set boundaries for yourself that are healthy for you, and know what you can and cannot handle so you don't become overwhelmed and that's not, really overwhelming you and pressing you down. If you have an experience where you find you're overwhelmed or you're out of sorts, after you feel better, take a minute to examine that situation and then ask yourself, how can I grow from this and maybe learn from it so that you can set limits for the next time that it happens? From every situation, there can be a learning experience. So try to do that to improve your emotional wellness as well. And if you make a mistake, guess what? Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We all do it. Learn from that mistake. And again, make improvements based on the mistake. What did I learn from this? How can I improve on it for the next time so that you're able to feel emotionally well and not get beat down by the fact that you made a mistake. That's going to give you something learning from those mistakes and improving it for next time, that's going to give you something to be proud about. And that's where that positivity falls into this dimension of wellness. And then finally, when it comes to emotions and feelings, take responsibilities for your actions. Again, we all make mistakes. So say you're sorry. That's going to make you feel better. It's going to make the other person feel better and say, here's what I learned from this. Give yourself the opportunity to grow and be positive. And that'll help to build those positive relationships too, as you grow and work on your emotional wellness. The next emotional dimension is self-care. And self-care is, it's really easy to say that, but sometimes it's not so easy to practice. But doing it can really go a long way to preventing disease and keeping yourself emotionally well and reducing stress can help to prevent chronic diseases. A good way to self-care is to be part of a social interaction. Social interaction can lighten your stress. It can provide us with emotional support, and it can give our minds intellectual interaction. Again, working within those dimensions, but it's something that can help our emotional wellness for sure. If you're not socially interactive, try to find some ways to get involved in a group or a club or a volunteer in some way so that you're out there and getting some social interaction. And ask for help when you need it. I know that's really hard for a lot of us to do, me included, but those of us that are doing everything for everyone else, that we're caretakers, we often need help, but we find it easier to do it ourselves and we don't want to trouble anybody else. So stop doing that. Part of self-care is finding ways to help, ask for help yourself, to lighten yourself up and lighten your load. And that's going to make you a better caregiver. A supportive friend or family member, they're probably going to be thrilled to help you. So ask for help and I'm sure they'll be glad to do it. And if they're not glad to do it, then maybe you need to find somebody that will be supportive to help you out there. Another thing is to find ways to make yourself calm. I can't stress this enough. Think about, I hear from people all the time, I lay in bed and my mind is just racing. I can't slow down. And in reality, if you practice ways to relax during the day while you're awake before you're trying to sleep, that can really help you to sleep. Yoga, breathing, or meditation, they help to slow your mind. They're training your mind to slow down. And they're a great example of self-care. So something that you can do for yourself in that self-care realm. Making those ways to calm yourself naturally, it's going to assist with avoiding substance abuse. It's going to assist with calming yourself down. It's going to reduce your anxiety. It's going to help you find a way to be grounded and centered. So daily routines, doing that as a daily routine is important, and it takes practice. And I can share with you after the presentation some areas that you can go to find that way to relax. And whether it's yoga or breathing or meditating, all you need to do is kind of put yourself in grown-up timeout. I used to tell my kids that mommy's going to grown-up mommy timeout. So just take a couple of minutes and just quiet yourself so you can just relax. It's really important too to have a daily routine. Sometimes, it's a chore to try to set something up because you just have to keep going. But having that self-care and a daily routine can really help reduce the chances that, you're going to run out of time for a task and cause more stress, or you're going to forget something which causes more stress. So having some type of daily routine where you get up and, go to sleep at the same time and plan things out can really help to go a long way with our emotional wellness. Try to develop a routine that allows time for your self-care in there too, especially when you're caring for others. In those same lines, trying to do things that, fall into the regular routine, maybe find something spiritually to do, like attend a religious meeting, make time, to go and do something that you love, like walking in nature, but allow time for those things and find ways to be less rushed to create less stress. And, it says here, be plan timely for your obligations. We'd all love to be free of obligations. That sounds really, really interesting. I really love to be able to do that. But it's not always possible. So try to find ways to, make your obligations that fit into what you can achieve. Taking on too much is not going to help your emotional wellness. It's going to make you feel overwhelmed. It's going to make you feel emotionally imbalanced. It could lead to, anxiety, depression, different things like that. So try to find ways that you can, not take on too many obligations and find a balance. Finding that balance to obligations could really make you feel much more fulfilled and not overfilled. And then finally, good nutrition is so important. And as we've learned in, the other dimensions of wellness and the physical dimension, for instance, eating a nutrient-dense diet can really go a long way. You want to make sure that you're not on your phone or your computer while you're eating or watching TV or looking at social media, because that doesn't allow your body time to enjoy the nourishment that it should be getting from foods. So try to take time to just eat, take a break during the day for mealtime to help your emotional health, and try to move away from your desk or whatever you're doing so that you can have that emotional wellness and that mindfulness and that little break in life, because it'll help, and it'll help you to be able to be more aware of what you're eating and how you're eating. So under self-care, I talked about yoga and breathing and meditation. They're not just, self-care as ideas, but they're also wonderful for managing your stress and anxiety. These techniques, they don't work for everybody. Everybody's different, but because everyone has different needs, take a look, at what you feel would help you to be least stressed, and find ways to manage stress through techniques that bring you the most comfort and stress reduction. So, that might be going for walks, it might be regular exercise, but it's important to establish if yoga and breathing are not your thing, then find what does help you. Maybe it's going for a swim, maybe it's talking to a friend on the phone, whatever that is, try to find that stress reducer for you, because it's important for chronic disease prevention. Also, you want to know what your triggers are, your stress, and your realize, what sets you off, what that feeling of overwhelm, that's what sets me off, and that makes me emotionally unbalanced. So if you realize what's making you stressed, then take a while and come back and say, what can I do to better manage this? What can I do to relax and unwind so that I'm not finding myself in these stressful situations all the time? Because if you take a minute to really look at what's stressing you, there's always there's a lot of times there's obvious things that are reoccurring. It might help to write it down so you can say, okay, well, on this day, this stressed me out and this is happening again. So how can you manage it and take time away from that? Sometimes it's really hard to manage the stress, but it's definitely worth finding a way for your emotional wellness to manage stress. You want to make sure to be kind to others and be kind to yourself. Think positive thoughts, as I talked about in the beginning. The positive attributes is what something SAMHSA really emphasizes with the dimensions of wellness. So think positive thoughts and realize that lifting yourself up will make you be more confident and hopefully make you be more able to deal with stress appropriately. Additionally, we're constantly hearing negative things coming in, negative information from all areas. Try to have self affirmations that are positive. And if you're finding yourself, social media is a perfect example. If you're scrolling all the time on social media and you find yourself like you put your phone down and you're like, "Grr," social media is probably stressing you out. So take a minute and just look at where you're feeling the stress and how you're feeling it. Maybe looking at negative things on social media is not a positive thing for you. And maybe you need to take a little break from that. So now that we've talked about the 3 areas of emotional wellness, let's look at some positive ways to implement this in our lives. Let's look at some of these techniques on our emotional journey. And at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you can look forward or back, but you want to look at the end of the day and maybe take a reflection. Maybe before you get ready for bed, take a check-in on your emotional well-being from that day and ask yourself what you learned and what your feelings taught you throughout the day. This is probably going to help you to grow and be more in touch with your emotions and feelings so that you can better cope with that stress in a positive way. So remember, the definition again has the word positive in it. So we want to make sure that we are being positive. Sometimes it's hard to recognize how we're feeling. And sometimes, like I said, journaling can help to get those thoughts out. It's not for everybody, but it's a suggestion. So think about writing things down to help you, get your emotions out. And then you can go back and kind of, reevaluate and say, hey, this is a reoccurring theme for me. How can I cope with this? Another good outlet, if you're artistic, is to sit down and sketch or to paint your feelings. A lot of people do that. Maybe even creating habits that allow you to process and cope with your feelings by meditating or doing deep breathing or yoga, as I mentioned earlier. Or maybe even find a place where you're comfortable, like walking on the beach or in the woods, and use that safe, comfortable place to assist you with finding emotional comfort. So that comfy place, it might even be in your house in a big chair with a blankie over you, just time out from everything else where you can just take for yourself an emotional time out. So important in self-care to do what you love and do it often. I know for me, I love to go, I've gotten into gardening and I really like that. And that's very relaxing for me. And I find in the winter, in addition to not having a lot of sunlight in New Jersey, that brings me down. I also am not gardening in the winter because it's cold out. So find what you love, do what you love, and do it often, because that's going to help you to, be emotionally fulfilled and feel well. Ask yourself, what's something that brings you pleasure or reassurance and peace of mind? Find those things. If it's something positive and healthy for your emotional health and well-being, then do it, and do it a lot. Make sure it's free of substances as well as stress, so that you can plan a time to do what you love, and have that time to do it. And, maybe even put that in your calendar, so that you have time to do it. And when you feel emotionally stressed, try to visit that favorite thing in your mind, to reduce your stress and find well-being. I love to go back and look at family pictures. If I find myself really stressed out, I have them on my phone. I'll just look at family pictures and giggle about fun times. So if that's something that helps to bring it back in for you, then, just think about what those things are and how they can help you. Physical outlets are great for dealing with emotions and feelings too. Trying to go for a walk in nature, take a bike ride, do some gardening, do something that's going to clear your mind and help you process your emotions and feelings. And you might not be concentrating on processing, but that'll help you to do it if it's something you love. And physical activity has been shown to reduce the symptoms of anxiety and depression. Get a move on it. Get out there and move to help feel emotionally better. It gets those endorphins flowing, and it'll help you to feel emotionally better. I know it's hard to take care of yourself when you have a demanding job. You might have kids or parents you're caring for. Everyday life is just really hard, but just try to unplug from time to time. Take a break away from those electronics. Sometimes we sit because of boredom and we think we're relaxing and we're scrolling, but you're not, your brain's still going. So it's still got your mind going. Try to take a, you know, an unplugged break, and that might help. Try to create habits that help you sync yourself, like finding meal ideas or creating a sleep pattern that's going to create that healthy atmosphere for yourself. Exercise and healthy diet can help to fit in that area. Come up with positive affirmations that you can repeat to yourself that make you feel good about yourself. You know, when I was reading a Brene Brown book, and one of the things that she has you do in this particular book is come up with 2 things that describe who you are, your value system. And for me, they were respect and grace. And so as I, you know, get stressed out and I find like I'm moving away from those virtues or values, I try to repeat those and remember them for myself so that I know where I want to keep the ship going, to help me feel better emotionally. So that's a way to check in too, check in your values. Change your thoughts to positive ones, because that can help your mood as well, having a positive outlook on life. A lot of research is starting to be done about, you know, if you have all those negatives all the time and you're always seeing the cup half empty, then it's going to be negative. So try to look for that half positive in a way in your life. Like, okay, here's what I learned from that bad situation, or here's how we can make it a positive. Again, the routine's important. Find ways to help yourself in a positive way instead of saying things to yourself like I can't, say I did. Instead of saying you know, no to yourself, say yes to yourself. Yes, be positive, and make sure to have that kindness for yourself. Just as a reminder, as I mentioned, can't get away without saying this. We want to make sure that we are eating a healthy diet. And you might think that that's a physical attribute, but it's also an emotional wellness thing too. I put it in because it's important that we eat from the 5 food groups to support a nutrient-dense diet. We want to help all our body parts function better. If you're not feeling good physically because you're eating poorly and you're not having a nutrient-dense diet, then guess what? Your emotional health is probably not going to be what you want it to be. So remember these keys to a nutrient-dense diet so that you feel better emotionally. Also, as I said before, being physically active is so important, and how that helps our emotional health. It makes us feel better every day. It makes everyday activities easier. As we age, we might not think, oh, you know, it's going to be hard to get out of a chair when we're young, but being physically active every day can help us to do everyday activities like getting up out of a chair easier as we age. Moving more and sitting less helps to prevent injuries and falls. As I said earlier, it can help with our mental health symptoms. Depression and anxiety specifically has been proven. It can decrease the chances of chronic diseases and help to improve those numbers, so that, you know, not having to take time off of work to go to a doctor's appointment all the time because we have a chronic disease can help, because, you know, we're not stressed by trying to do too many things at once. So looking at ways that, you know, we can be physically well helps, and physical activity certainly can do that. It energizes us. I know you feel tired when you get home at the end of the day, but if you go out for that walk, it'll probably give you a little more energy then and the next day. So being physically active can give us energy, and that's going to make us feel better emotionally. And then also being physically active helps with cognitive brain function. It helps prevent you know, disease. It helps us have more focus in life. So that's going to make us less emotionally stressed as we go through our workday and every day. And again, a good night's sleep is part of emotional health. It's a physical thing, but if you can get a good night's sleep, it's really important. So good night's sleep supports emotional health. I'm sure, you know, you can, when you get a bad night's sleep and you wake up, you're just like, oh, right? So getting that good night's sleep helps with our emotional health. It supports our awareness and our memory if we get a good night's sleep. And guess what? Exercising more helps us to sleep better. So these all go hand in hand, just like the 8 dimensions of wellness do. Also, better sleep can help to prevent chronic diseases. It can assist with better physical activity. So we are physically active, we sleep better, and because we sleep better, we can be better physically active. So again, that cycle. It also balances our food intake. So a good night's sleep, if you feel tired at 3 p.m. in the afternoon because you didn't get a good night's sleep, or you're feeling like you need something sugary to eat at 3 p.m., it's probably because you're not getting enough sleep. And our body craves things that are sugary to give us energy. And then what happens is it's like a cycle that sends off our nutrient dense diet and all those type of things. So getting a good night's sleep makes it less likely that we're going to crave those high sugar products, like sugary beverages. So if you are feeling in the afternoon like you're not getting enough energy because you didn't get a good night's sleep, then instead of reaching for that sugary item that might not help us to sleep at night, try doing something that's protein dense, like maybe some cheese and crackers, or some nuts, something that could help us to sleep better that night because it wasn't sugary and also is nutrient dense. And then finally, a good night's sleep helps to support better heart health, which is really important. All right, let's see here. So I mentioned in the beginning that each wellness dimension can affect and be affected by all the other dimensions in a positive and negative way. And to review that, the dimensions that are impacted or can impact emotional wellness, just remember that this means, the ability to express our feelings and adjust our emotional challenges, cope with life's stressors and enjoy life. And it includes knowing our strengths as well as what we want to get better at, and living and working on our own, but letting others help us from time to time. So how they interact: physical wellness, as I just mentioned, engaging in physical activity or exercise has been shown to inspire us and to inspire us to move more, and has been associated with better mood and can lessen the symptoms of anxiety and depression. Socially, emotional wellness can interact with social wellness because being emotionally well will assist you with feeling emotionally well. Doctors are actually starting to write prescriptions for seniors to be more socially active because there's evidence that being socially active can support your emotional wellness. So doesn't have to cost you money, just like wellness doesn't need to cost you money. Just maybe calling an old friend or talking to somebody in the family and being socially active, playing a game or something like that, that could help to prevent disease, and it can help with our mental and emotional wellness. And then environmental wellness can also help us because, as you might, if you were on the presentation for environmental wellness, being active in nature is something that's suggested for environmental wellness. And if you're active in nature, that can help you feel better emotionally. And on the other side of emotional wellness, if you have a safe and organized space, that can help with your emotional wellness as well. All right, I am going to release the next poll here. So if you would be so kind to, sorry, I have to end the other one. If you would be so kind as to complete this poll, it's very helpful for me in knowing how I'm doing and what I can do to better assist you. Okay, polls. Sorry. It's not allowing. Again, I apologize. I'm here alone trying to work it out. Doing so good until this point. Here we go. All right, there's that poll. If you could complete that for me, it would be wonderful. All right, so again, just to review for the Fitbit, when you get the email from me, please fill it out. Fill out that, it's only a couple questions, take you 5 minutes. Fill that out, enter your email address, enter the word of the day, which was summer, in there, and then you can enter to win one of the Fitbits. I'm going to tell you, I don't have a lot of responses. So if you start filling out the survey, you have a good chance of winning a Fitbit. And even if you already have one, you can give it to somebody that could use it for Christmas, right? Then you have a free Christmas present in there. Okay.
Christine, the poll that you just put disappeared.
Disappeared.
It flashed up on the screen and then it was gone.
Huh. Okay, let me try that again. Sorry, y'all. Again, it's hard to see what's going on with all the stuff on my computer, but thank you for letting me know. I'm gonna keep going as I'm getting the pull up. This is the registration for next month's, and we're gonna be covering intellectual wellness. So, if you would be so kind as to register for that. I wonder why it's not going. Oh, it ended itself. Oh, well, let me see if I can reopen it. Haha. All right, we're trying again. And this is for this one, if you hold your camera up to the scan, that'll take you to the registration for intellectual wellness, which we will be doing on July 25th. So that is there. And you can also find it on our web pages too. All right, these are my resources I used. And I'm going to put that back up in case you want to register. And I realized that I skipped the slide when I redid the presentation. So I'll put my email address into the chat. So if you have any questions and you want to find anything, and you can find, if you search RCE, FCHS, Cape May County, you can find all of our web pages. And our Facebook page and all that stuff will come up. I put that in there too. All right, so the poll is gone. Let's see, and the survey disappeared. Okay, so that should all be taken care of. If anybody has any questions, you're welcome to put that in the chat for me, and hopefully you got some pointers on being emotionally well. I know it's a challenge for a lot of people. I was a little surprised to see how many people had registered, like I said, because I think that a lot of people are concerned about emotional wellness, and it's a hot topic right now, unfortunately. So, all right. Well, if you don't have any questions, I'm going to mute. I'll keep looking, and I'll let you fill the poll out. But have a great rest of your week. I'll see you hopefully in July, and I hope that you got some pointers today to use for your emotional wellness.